Hi everyone, my name is Natalie. I want to tell you about my millionaire brother who traded his family for money. Is that cruel? Yes. Would you do that? Listen to what we went through and then write your opinion in the comments. My brother Bill, my mother and I lived together. We didn't have a father, or rather, we knew nothing about him. My brother had graduated high school at the time, but there was no money for college, and he missed out on a scholarship. All that was left to do was to work, so he did. My mother worked as a cleaner, and my brother was a waiter. I sometimes helped my mother, but most of the time, I went to school. Every evening, we ate a humble meal. Bill would talk about how rich his customers were, guys his age, who came into their place and threw money around like it was nothing. What, are you jealous of them? Well, yeah. Wouldn't you be jealous of seeing other girls' fancy dresses and dolls? I haven't played with dolls or worn dresses in a long time. But if you had the money, you would. That's it, son. We're doing the best we can. As long as we have a roof over our heads and food, there'll be more to come. When will there be more? I couldn't even go to college because we had no money. For lack of brains. What did you say? If you were smart, you would have won a scholarship. What do you know? Stop it. Billy's doing a great job helping me now, and you can do that next year. You have to find the money. And how are you going to find it? Are you going to rob a bank? I have an idea. It's a good thing nature didn't just give me a pretty face. He smiled nastily and gritted his teeth, and I just laughed. My brother was not deceived. He took advantage of his looks and met a girl named Taylor. She was unrealistically rich. At first, my mom and I thought it was silly and that they would break up as soon as she found out that my brother had nothing. But everything seemed to go well. And then one day he came home, packed everything up, even the baby pictures with him, and after saying goodbye, said he wouldn't be back soon because he was leaving with Taylor for somewhere in Europe. And where exactly? Rome. You don't have money for the flight. It's all paid for. Bill, you little punk. But he left. Mom, on the other hand, was glad that her son was at least seeing the world. But do you think that's right? What exactly? Well, the fact that he's living at someone else's expense. It's all temporary. At least let him live his life for now. Yeah, my brother is a gigolo. I'm ashamed to tell anyone. He'd been gone for 2 months, and my mom got worried. I called him and wrote, but he did not pick up the phone and only skipped and sometimes replied to messages like he was fine. After another month, I found out through social media that my brother and Taylor had gotten married. Their wedding was fancy, somewhere in the Maldives, and he didn't even tell my mom or I about it. I was so mad. He didn't invite us to the wedding, Mom. Maybe he was embarrassed to ask for money for a ticket for you and I. Embarrassed? We're his family. I texted him, but he didn't even open it. That's when I realized he was just blowing us off, like a ballast. And then I saw an article in a glossy magazine about their wedding. Taylor is the daughter of a millionaire. Her daddy loves my brother because he's smart and he gets along with them. But there's more to it than that. He said he had no family, that he was an orphan and grew up alone on the street. That's what pissed me off. I showed it to my mom, but she didn't react. She said she was just happy for him, and that's all. But no, I was determined to get back at him. I did everything I could do. I texted him from leftist accounts, I called him, but he threw me all over the block. I couldn't believe my brother would do this. In the end, my mom convinced me to leave him alone. Like, let him live a little for himself. Even though I refused to accept it, I did what she told me to do. My friends kept sending me videos and pictures for the next year. My bastard brother had become some famous millionaire. He was swimming in money, while my mother and I were starving. Every day, my hatred got bigger until it turned into revenge, and revenge into a goal. I grew up, saved up money for a ticket, saved up for years, and went to see him. It was easy to find a cool, rich house with lots of servants and dogs. I broke in there on my brother's birthday. He was having a huge reception. The guards didn't even notice as I ran in there without the dress code. I walked in, and amongst the dozen guests, I looked like a black crow, dressed all in black with black hair and nails. Everyone froze, and then someone started calling for the guards. They grabbed me under the arms and tried to take me out, calling me a thief. What? Thief? I spent my whole life scrubbing floors and dishes to save money for a ticket here, though I could have stolen it, but I didn't. Unlike my brother, I have a conscience. What's going on in here? They've already served hot... What? Nat? Hey, brother, how are you doing? Happy birthday. What are you doing here? Billy, who's that? Why don't you say something, Billy? Have you swallowed your tongue? Taylor, I'm Natalie, your husband's sister. That makes me your sister-in-law. What? What is this nonsense? Billy doesn't have a family. He grew up an orphan. Alone? On the street? Yeah. Did he remember to tell you how our mom fed him until he was 19? Did he forget to tell you that she got him a job as a waiter at the cafe where you met him? Huh? And that she scrubbed the floors there? Billy, is that true? What do you want? Are you here for money? Oh, no. What are you? I came for your birthday. Where's the food? I was seated at a table, even though my brother was against it. The whole evening, he sat in a bad mood, and I told the guests stories about our past lives, or rather about his. After a quick meal, the guests left, and I stayed there. He took me into another room and asked me why I was there. I told him he had ditched us and he'd have to pay for it. How much? How much what? How much do you want me to pay? Brother, you'll give me the money anyway, but I want something more. What do you want? I'll take what's most precious from you. What do you want? Then the babysitter came running into the room with a baby, a girl about 4 years old. She was happily spreading her arms and shouting, "Daddy!" Bill took her in his arms and asked the babysitter why they came back so soon, and she said the daughter had missed her parents. He sent them into the kitchen, and I clapped my hands. Wow, I have a niece? What's her name? None of your business. Billy, you know what our mother said before she died? That she still loves you and was glad you were happy, but I don't have that much generosity. What? Mom died? Mm-hmm. If you'd picked up the phone, you'd have known. God, from what? She had cancer, and we didn't have any money for treatment. I tried to ask you, but you wouldn't answer. You threw me on the block. Oh no. And he cried, and I didn't feel sorry for him at all. I went up to him and told him I was going to stay with him for a while. Every day I'd make some kind of a fuss. I'd walk into his office in my pajamas during a meeting, or break an expensive vase, or redirect a delivery guy to another house. Taylor treated me simply. She said hello and wished me a good appetite, and that was it. I was fine with that. Then I started messing with his cars, smashing one, drowning the other, losing the third. Bill was going crazy. Finally, he blew up. What do you want from me? I'll give you money, just get out. Put $3 million on my card. How much? It's moral damages. Okay, but get out right away, within the hour. Yeah. I got the money, Bill went to work, and Taylor was in the bathroom. I took my niece and decided to take her for a little walk. We ran out to the yard, and I got his car, and we went for a drive. Alicia turned out to be a very pretty girl, and at first, I had a plan to make Billy suffer, to go crazy with fear and pain over her, but then I noticed something special about her. We walked around the park for 2 hours, eating ice cream, and she sang songs to me, and I danced to them, and then she came up to me and hugged me. My eyes almost fell out from surprise. What? What are you doing? You're nice. I like you. Do you like me? But I'm like a witch. Arr. No, you're not. You're good inside. I know. You're also my aunt, aren't you? Yeah. Auntie. You know I'm your cool aunt. I'll always love you. What? She hugged me again, and I couldn't stand it. I sat down right on the ground and started crying and hugging her. You look so much like her, I said. Just then, I heard shouts of Alicia from behind me. It was my brother and his wife yelling. They ran up to me, and Taylor snatched Alicia out of my arms, and Billy grabbed my arm painfully. And then Alicia stood up for me. She yelled for them to get away from me and her. What? That's my aunt. Don't touch. What? Did you think I was going to hurt her? What's wrong with you? I wanted to, but I noticed something about her. Yeah, she looks like our mom. Yeah, you noticed too? I named her Alicia because that's the name Mom always wanted, but her grandmother named her Daisy. Oh, I didn't know. Of course, she only told me about it. God, I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to her. I couldn't take it anymore. I cried too. Bill then hugged me. Come live with us some more. Let's be together. Fine, but I'm not giving you the money back. Consider it a gift. It's been 6 months since then. I bought myself a nice apartment near them, got a job, and visit Alicia every day.
Hello everyone, my name is Archie. Do you believe that miracles can happen in life? Yes, not really me either. I've always felt like I had to pay for everything. That's why I grew up terribly distrustful of people. Maybe that's why I pushed many people away from me. I think now I will tell you my story, and you will draw conclusions and share them with me. So it will be easier and easier for me to understand myself. I've been in this house for so many years, since I was born. The thing is, my mum worked here, and so did my dad. They were servants to Mr. Lowe's parents. Actually, that's where they met. Then they fell in love, and my mother got pregnant. Honey, is something wrong? Do you have a stomachache? You look very sad today. Darling, what will happen to our children? I don't want him to work here next to us. I want him to grow up free and educated. This job is our choice. He can have his own. But we will make sure that he has as many options as possible. And then they died, and I became an orphan. I don't know exactly why they were gone, but the local staff working at the time said they were sick. I was raised by another servant. Because my parents had worked well and won over their hostess, Mrs. Lau allowed me to stay with her. I've been living and working here ever since. Archie! 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 Where are you? I'm here, Mr. Jonathan. Where are you? Quickly mow the lawn, it's time. Okay, I'll do it. Mrs. Lowe, I'll do it. It's just that the car broke down. I fixed it, it's already fixed. I'll start now. There are guests coming in 10 minutes. I don't want the lawn mowed in front of them. Hurry up. Yes, ma'am. William, what are you doing? Go home, quickly. Her son just laughed and went into the house. Why is he so angry, her son? He's always been like that. That's how he grew up. He's not only mocking you, he's mocking me too, and more than once. But why? It's so humiliating to put up with all of his antics. What can you do? He's our host. He's the owner's son. He didn't hire us, and he doesn't pay the salary, so I'm not responsible for myself. Sit tight if you don't want to fly out of here. Mr. Jonathan and I sat late in the evening eating dinner, sitting on the grass, and at the back of the house chatting. I then promised him that sooner or later that I'll pay that kid back. He always bullied everyone, and it couldn't go on like this. At that moment, he, William, came out into the street. Oh, and I wanted to get some air, and there are 2 piles of garbage sitting, still eating. Take it back. Oh, don't open your mouth, it stinks worse than... But no, I'm just kidding. It doesn't get any worse. You forget yourself, boy. I can fire you, or I can put you away. I don't care. I won't let you talk to us like that, just because you have money. Yes, someone in this life was lucky, and someone's parents died a long time ago. You know, if I was your father, I would be ashamed to have a son like you. Tell me, how many times has your mother turned over in her coffin for being ashamed of herself? At that moment, anger boiled up in me. I couldn't stand it anymore, and attacked him. William and I had a big fight. The gardener tried to separate us, but he also accidentally got hurt. One of the guests came out at that moment, and everyone gathered around us. Mrs. Lowe came up to us, separated us with her voice, and then looked at me and at her son and said, "Boys, this is not the way to behave. We have guests." Someone in the crowd shouted that the servants were not allowed to behave like this, and demand that I be arrested, and quickly. But somehow Mrs. Lowe overplayed the situation. This is not a servant, but my second son. I adopted him recently. So he's not used to manners yet, but he's learning. He has a good mind, he can analyse, and he has a good heart. So guests, let's continue our conversation. Why did you pick a fight? It's all him, he started it first. What's the difference? What did I tell you? It doesn't matter who started the fight, but it matters who can avoid it or not start it at all. Archie, why don't you say something? Nothing, ma'am. I started it. I'm ashamed. Forgive me. Do you take me for a fool? William, do you think that we do not have cameras in the backyard? Besides, Jonathan reported everything. And you, Archie, are you trying to be a hero? I have news for you. William, you need to learn to behave yourself. Be less selfish. I'm adopting Archie. Besides, I've already told the guests. What? No, mother, you can't adopt a servant. No way. I won't call him brother. What, ma'am? But how and why? Quiet. I'm talking now. I've decided. From tomorrow, I will prepare the documents, and you, William, and I will have a separate conversation with you. Lo and her son left the room, and I sat there, still not understanding what it was. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew she must have decided long ago. It was not for nothing that she asked me what I would have done if I'd lived with William. I knew she couldn't handle it, and I guess she thought I could. In general, I will not tell you what William was hysterical about at first. He rebelled, he wouldn't eat, wouldn't leave the room. He was mean to me, he shouted, even cried. But Mrs. Lowe held her ground and didn't change her mind, stuck to the same behaviour. Life on the other side was quite interesting. Now the servants with whom I ate at the same table called me Sir or Mister and addressed me as you. I ate what I wanted, started studying, dressed beautifully and went out. William had been burning with misery all this time. Once he even tried to hurt me by pushing me down the stairs, but it didn't work. I'm a tough nut to crack. So, 4 months of enmity and battle passed, and gradually William began to behave quieter and quieter, probably getting used to it. I will never call you brother. You're my servant, okay? I didn't want to be your brother, but it was your mother who adopted me, without my knowledge. I hate you, servant. I don't care, William. Boys, fighting again. You better help me with my luggage. Mum, how are you? It's all right, boys. The doctor said that one of you saved my life. It's him. Is that true? Me? I was trained to give first aid, that's all. Thank you, son. Can I get you anything? Maybe some water? She's all I have, thank you. And at that moment, for some reason, I felt so good at heart. That was the beginning of my relationship with William, Mrs. Lowe. From that moment, I lived very differently and much happier. Tell me, did you guys like my story? Write your opinion about it in the comments below. Do not forget to put some likes on the video, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel.